You're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, and you feel it. That quiet, familiar anxiety creeping in. Tomorrow is Monday. You have to go back. And the worst part? You're not even broke. You've got a steady job, a decent paycheck, maybe even a title that sounds impressive at dinner parties. But something feels off. You do the math in your head. You've been working for 5, maybe 10 years. You earn good money. So why does your bank account look exactly the same as it did 3 years ago? Why does every raise just seem to disappear into thin air? Why, despite doing everything right, getting the degree, landing the job, showing up every single day, does financial freedom still feel like it's a lifetime away? Here's the uncomfortable truth that no one in your HR department is ever going to tell you. Your salary might be the single biggest obstacle standing between you and real wealth. Not your spending habits, not the economy, not bad luck. Your salary itself, the very thing society told you to chase, is the trap. My name is Max, and today we're going to break down exactly how the wage system works, why it's designed to keep you dependent, and most importantly, what you can actually do about it. This isn't a video about quitting your job tomorrow. This is a video about understanding the game, so you can stop playing by rules that were never written in your favor. Stick with me, because by the end of this, the way you think about money will never be the same. Part 1. The illusion of stability. Let's start with the story you were told growing up. Go to school, get good grades, land a stable job with a good salary, work hard, get promoted, and one day, you'll be comfortable. That was the promise, that was the deal, and billions of people signed up for it without reading the fine print. The fine print, by the way, is brutal. When you accept a salary, you are agreeing to trade the most finite resource you will ever have, your time, for a fixed amount of money. Not a variable amount, not an amount tied to the value you actually create, a fixed amount. Decided by someone else, reviewed once a year if you're lucky, increased by maybe 3%, which, fun fact, barely keeps pace with inflation. Let that sink in for a second. Inflation in most developed countries runs between 2 and 4% annually. If your raise is 3%, you are, in real terms, getting poorer every single year while being told you're doing well. The numbers go up on your paycheck, but the purchasing power of those numbers barely moves or actually decreases. This is not an accident. This is not negligence. This is the system functioning exactly as designed. Here's something most people never think about. Your employer doesn't pay you what you're worth. Your employer pays you the minimum amount required to keep you from leaving. That's it. That's the entire salary negotiation in one sentence. They model the cost of replacing you, they model your likely competing offers, and they pay you just enough to stay comfortable. Just enough so you don't start looking around too aggressively. Just enough to keep the machine running. And comfort, that word right there, comfort is the enemy of wealth. Part 2. How the wage trap actually works. Now, let's get into the mechanics, because once you see this clearly, you cannot unsee it. When you earn a salary, you are on what's called linear income. 1 unit of time equals 1 unit of money. You work an hour, you get paid for an hour. You stop working, the money stops. There is a direct one-to-one relationship between your presence and your income. And this model has a hard ceiling because you only have 24 hours in a day. The wealthy don't operate on linear income. They operate on what's called leverage. Their money works while they sleep. Their systems generate income whether they show up or not. They've broken the link between time and money. And that single distinction is responsible for more wealth inequality than any tax policy or economic cycle in history. But here's where the trap gets really clever. A salary doesn't just limit your income ceiling. It actively prevents you from building anything beyond it. Think about your week. You wake up, you commute, you work 8, 9, 10 hours, you come home exhausted, you eat, You decompress because you need to, because your brain is fried. And then you sleep and do it all over again. By Friday, you're running on fumes. The weekend becomes recovery time, not building time. And slowly, week after week, year after year, you trade the season of your life when you have the most energy, the most creativity, and the most potential, your 20s and 30s, for a steady paycheck and a false sense of security. And the taxes. Let's talk about the taxes, because this is the part that should make your blood boil. A salaried employee is the most heavily taxed entity in the entire financial system. Before you see a single dollar of your paycheck, the government has already taken income tax, social security contributions, healthcare levies, and in many countries, additional local taxes. You earn a gross salary, but you live on a net salary that can be 30, 40, even 50% lower depending on where you live. Meanwhile, business owners and investors are taxed on profits, not revenue. They write off expenses. They structure their income through capital gains, which are taxed at lower rates. They use legal strategies that are completely unavailable to you as an employee, to keep dramatically more of what they earn. The tax code is not neutral. It was written by people who own assets and businesses, for people who own assets and businesses. Employees are not the intended beneficiaries of the tax code. Employees are the intended source of revenue. Part 3. The psychological cage. Now I want to go deeper because the wage trap isn't just financial, it's psychological, and this layer might be the hardest one to escape. When you have a steady paycheck, your brain does something very natural. It calibrates your lifestyle to match your income. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it is absolutely devastating to long-term wealth. You get a raise, you upgrade your apartment, you get a promotion, you buy a nicer car, your income increases, and almost automatically, unconsciously, your expenses expand to meet it. The gap between what you earn and what you keep stays razor thin. The number changes, but the feeling stays exactly the same. You're always one bad month away from stress, one unexpected bill away from panic, one layoff away from crisis. This is why studies consistently show that people earning $100,000 a year often feel just as financially stressed as people earning $40,000, because it was never about the amount. It was about the gap, and salaries by design keep that gap closed. But it goes even further than lifestyle inflation. The salary creates something worse. It creates dependency. When your entire financial existence is tied to one income source, one employer, one paycheck, one relationship you cannot afford to jeopardize, you develop a very specific psychology. You become risk-averse. You become conflict-averse. You start making career decisions based on job security rather than growth. You stay in bad work environments because you can't afford to leave. You don't push back on your manager because you need the reference. You don't take the business idea seriously because what if it fails and you've wasted your savings? The golden handcuffs are real and they work exactly as intended. The moment you become dependent on a paycheck, you lose negotiating power. And the moment you lose negotiating power, you are no longer an agent operating in your own interest. You are an asset on someone else's balance sheet. Part 4. What the wealthy actually do differently. Okay, so now you understand the trap. Let's talk about the escape. And I want to be very clear here. This is not about hating on employment or pretending everyone should immediately launch a startup. That's not realistic, and it's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you need to fundamentally change your relationship with money. And that starts with one concept: multiple income streams. The average millionaire has not one, not two, but 7 income streams. 7. While you're relying on a single paycheck, Wealthy individuals have dividend income, rental income, business income, royalty income, interest income, and capital gains all flowing simultaneously. If one stream dries up, 6 others keep running. This is not magic. This is not luck. This is deliberate architecture, and you can start building it while keeping your job. Here's what Max always talks about, and this is the fundamental shift you need to make. Stop thinking of your salary as your income. Start thinking of your salary as your starting capital. Your job is not your financial life. Your job is the funding mechanism for your real financial strategy. Every month, a portion of that paycheck should be flowing into assets, not savings accounts earning 0.5% interest while inflation eats them alive. Assets, things that generate returns, that appreciate, that put money into your pocket without requiring your direct time and labor. That means index funds. That means dividend-paying stocks. For those further along, it might mean real estate, property that generates rental income month after month regardless of whether you show up to work. For some, it means building a side business or a content platform or a digital product that can generate income while you sleep. The wealthy play offense and defense simultaneously. They protect what they earn from taxes through smarts, structuring. They grow what they keep through compounding returns. And they diversify their income so that no single employer or market event can wipe them out. Part 5. The math that will change your life. Let me show you something that changed the way I see money forever. Take 2 people. Both earn $50,000 a year. Person A spends everything they earn, saves almost nothing, and relies entirely on their salary. Person B saves and invests 20% of their salary, $10,000 a year, in a diversified index fund portfolio that returns a historical average of 8% annually. After 10 years, Person A has essentially the same net worth they started with, because every raise was absorbed by lifestyle inflation. After 10 years, Person B has not just the $100,000 they put in. They have approximately $144,000 because compounding has been working for them the entire time. But here's where it gets extraordinary. After 20 years, Person B doesn't have $200,000. They have over $500,000. And after 30 years, if they simply stay consistent, they're sitting at over $1.2 million from a $50,000 salary, without ever getting a massive raise, without launching a unicorn startup, without any luck at all. This is the power of compounding, and it is the foundational difference between how the wealthy think about money and how everyone else thinks about money. The wealthy don't just earn more. They put their money to work and they leave it alone long enough for compounding to perform its quiet, relentless miracle. But you cannot do this if your entire paycheck evaporates into rent, subscriptions, and lifestyle expenses every single month. The first step is always the gap. Create the gap between what you earn and what you spend. Protect that gap. Invest that gap. Repeat. Part 6. Breaking out. The practical roadmap. So, what do you actually do? Let me give you a framework, not theory. Step 1. Audit your financial reality. Sit down this week and track every single dollar that comes in and goes out. Not to beat yourself up, to understand the actual numbers. Most people dramatically underestimate their spending and dramatically overestimate their savings. You cannot fix what you haven't measured. Step 2. Build a real emergency fund. I know this sounds boring, but financial risk-taking is only possible when you have a floor. 3 to 6 months of living expenses in cash in a high-yield savings account. This fund does one specific job. It removes desperation from your decision-making. When you have a runway, you can afford to walk away from bad jobs, take calculated risks, and invest without panic selling at the first sign of volatility. Step 3. Eliminate high-interest debt immediately. Credit card debt at 18, 20, 25% interest is a financial black hole. No investment on earth reliably returns 25%. Any money you put into the market while carrying high interest debt is losing ground. Clear it fast. Step 4. Start investing as soon as humanly possible. You don't need a lot of money to start. You need consistency. Automate a fixed percentage of your paycheck, even if it's 5 or 10%, into an index fund or a diversified portfolio. Do it automatically so it never hits your checking account and never gets spent. Treat it like a bill you pay yourself first. Step 5. Build a second income stream. This doesn't mean grinding yourself into the ground. It means identifying something, a skill, a hobby, a niche of knowledge that you can monetize outside of your primary job, a freelance service, an online course, a YouTube channel, a digital product, a small e-commerce operation. It doesn't need to make $10,000 a month on day one. It needs to prove the concept that your income is not exclusively tied to your employer. Step 6. Learn continuously. The gap between people who escape the wage trap and people who don't is almost always a gap in financial literacy. The people who are free understand taxes. They understand investing. They understand how to structure income and protect assets. This knowledge is learnable. It's not secret, but it requires intentional study, and most people never do it because school never taught them to. Part 7. The real cost of waiting. Here's the part most people skip over, and it's the part that matters most. Every month you delay is not neutral. Every month you remain fully dependent on a single paycheck, fully invested in nothing, fully exposed to the risk of one employer's decision, is a month where compounding is not working for you. Time is the most powerful variable in the wealth equation. Not income, not intelligence, not connections. Time. And you are spending it right now in this moment, whether you're building something with it or not. A 25-year-old who starts investing has a completely different financial trajectory than a 35-year-old who starts investing, even if they invest the exact same amounts. The 10-year head start is not a minor advantage. It is a life-changing advantage worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in compounded returns. So the question isn't whether you should start. The question is why you haven't yet. And usually, if you're honest with yourself, the answer is one of 3 things. You don't know how, you don't think you earn enough yet, or you're waiting for the right moment. None of those are real obstacles. They feel like obstacles because inertia is comfortable, and starting something new is uncomfortable, and the financial system benefits enormously from your paralysis. But here's what I want you to carry with you after this video ends. The wage trap is not a life sentence. It is a default setting, and default settings can be changed. The salary was never supposed to make you rich. It was supposed to make you reliable. Reliable to your employer, reliable to the economy, just comfortable enough not to question the arrangement. But you're questioning it now, and that's everything. Your salary is a starting point, not a destination. Your job is a tool, not an identity. Your financial future is not something that happens to you. It is something you build deliberately, with intention, one decision at a time. Start today, not next month, not when you get the next raise. Today. Track your spending. Open the brokerage account. Learn the next thing. Start the side project. Make the gap. The trap only works if you stay in it. And now that you see the bars, you can walk right through them. If this video changed the way you think about money, do me a favor and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Hit subscribe if you want more content like this, because we're just getting started. The next video is going to go even deeper into how to structure your first investment portfolio from scratch, even if you're starting with almost nothing. See you there.